I've completely lost interest in The Bachelor, and it's not Grant Ellis's fault. He's not to blame for the show's mistakes. I've completely lost interest in The Bachelor, but it's not season 29 leading man Grant Ellis's fault, but more the mistakes of the show itself that have made it such a chore for me to watch. As a Bachelor fan since the beginning, I used to eagerly watch every episode and get swept up in the romance. However, in recent years, the franchise shows have become overly dramatic and formulaic, as well as plagued by scandal and poor casting choices, including contestants with restraining orders in their pasts from The Bachelorette and The Golden Bachelorette. The Bachelor Season 29 with Grant included everything that I and other fans have come to despise about the show. From producer manipulation to create drama, to villainizing certain contestants, it's become clear that the show must do better and listen to its audience. I'm exhausted and bored from watching the same tired storylines play out year after year. I wanted better for Grant because I loved him on Jen Tran's Bachelorette season, and I thought he'd be the perfect bachelor. The drama among the Bachelor women needs to end. Up until Grant's Bachelor Season 29 hometown dates, when the women were finally separated from each other, every episode was dominated by drama among them. They argued with Zoe McGrazy and Carolina Sofia for dominating Grant's time during group dates, but they never thought to confront him about leaving the dates to spend time with the other women. I really don't like watching grown women argue with each other over a guy as though they're in middle school. In addition, some of the women, especially Juliana Pasquarosa, were offended by Carolina's concern that she didn't know Grant well enough to get engaged to him after just one date. While Carolina made perfect sense, Juliana felt that she was being ungrateful. Every season, there's at least one contestant who points out how fast the timeline of The Bachelor is, and she's made out to be the villain. However, Carolina and others before her were absolutely right. These arguments rear their ugly heads during every Bachelor season, but they're really getting old. I feel as though I'm re-watching previous seasons every time I turn on one of Grant's episodes. While the producers might think that all of the drama makes for good TV, all they're doing now is reminding the audience that the show is played out and ridiculous. The premise of The Bachelor is absurd. Another thing that's made me lose interest in the show is the fact that its premise causes the star to lead the women on. The displays of affection that happen between the lead and the women are just one example of how this happens. While I know that physical attraction is important in a relationship, it's completely cringeworthy to watch Grant go from room to room, kissing woman after woman, and making them all feel so special. What's even more creepy is that the women know about it and are still okay with it. Grant's season was especially hard to watch because he kissed a few of the women in front of the other contestants, including his steamy makeout session with Carolina on stage. Of course, the women were more upset with Carolina than Grant, although some of them did express their feelings to him as well. I found it so degrading for the women to have to experience that, and it's really making me lose interest in watching the show. The entire premise of The Bachelor is based on the star leading women on, while they're supposed to fall in love with him without knowing if he returns their feelings. Before his hometown dates, I believe that it was clear that Grant had much stronger feelings for Juliana and Latia Gar than he did for Dina Lupancu, whom he eliminated, and Zoe McGrady, who'd never had a one-on-one date before he met her family. It was unnecessary for him to meet Dina and Zoe's families, and he also shouldn't share an overnight fantasy suite with Zoe when it's so clear that she's not the one. Many people thought that Claire Crawley was crazy to end The Bachelorette Season 16 early to get engaged to Dale Moss, but although their relationship didn't last, I think what she did made total sense. Why should she risk her relationship with Dale to date other men if she already knew what she wanted? Grant should have done the same thing, but he still seemed unsure. However, if Grant wasn't sure about the women going into the fantasy suite dates, then I feel that none of them are really going to be his person, and I don't want to watch yet another failed Bachelor season. The Bachelor engagement is problematic, should be eliminated. The timeline of The Bachelor is way too fast for anyone to be considering getting engaged. This isn't season 1, when the show was still like an experiment. Grant and the audience know that most Bachelor relationships have failed, but yet we still have to sit and watch everyone make the same mistakes again and again. I just can't get invested in the relationships, knowing that the odds are stacked against them staying together. The Bachelor has the lowest success rate of all of the Bachelor franchise shows, with just 3 out of the previous 28 couples still together. They include married couple Sean Lowe and Catherine Giudice, and engaged couples Zach Shallcross and Katie Bigger, and Joey Graziati and Kelsey Anderson. This is a red flag that the engagement at the end of the show is problematic, and it should be eliminated, or at least not the main focus or goal